I got 3 people and 1 person that's not knowledgeable on the subject. Godspeed, boys.
E.
One thing I'm going to do while we're
Welcome.
Color change. There we go.
Welcome to episode 44 of the Beyond Pixels podcast. Today, we're talking about Spoopy VR. So that includes all sorts of things like Phasmophobia, the scary games in VR chat, things like that. And if you're watching instead of just listening, you might notice something change for a few seconds
so
here.
his pants are down.
What the fuck? No, if you look, this is the secondary view. If you turn the monitor on or have stream up, you'll see it.
It's
We have
just
2
the
different
ring.
views that
It's
I can
just
switch
the
to
ring
now.
camera. Relax, people. It's just a ring camera.
7
Yeah, so we have that. And added that as a new thing because there are some very interesting different ideas that I've had for the podcast going forward that can utilize this system that is running this. Anyway, today we're talking about Spoopy VR. So
Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
we're going to start off with VR Chat World. So when you think of Spooky VR Chat Worlds, what is the first set of worlds that comes to mind?
I don't remember the map maker, but you would probably know the map. It's the one with the original 2 cat sisters. It's like you're on a roller coaster and you're going through, and
I know the map you're talking about. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
It's been years, dude.
basically
This was
you
like back in.
sit on it, and it drives you through the whole experience instead of you walking through it or anything like that, right?
Yeah, it was like back in 2019. Like it was like way back then.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Oh.
But no, for me, the first world that comes to mind, it's a set of worlds that they came out with one every year for a few years, or year or so, or whatever. It was the Huggy Dungeon, the Huggies maps.
Yeah, I know.
Remember
I know
those?
that one. I played those. Yeah, those are absolutely an experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
but those-
That is the
wonderful
only
map I've
time
been
you will
to.
ever get me to say experience and VR chat in the same sentence. Congratulations.
We did it, boys.
That's a nod back to an earlier episode. Go back and watch that one. We were talking about what is
Watch all
VR
the
chat.
episodes.
That too. There's a lot of there's starting to be some inside jokes that you have to watch all episodes to know what's happening at some parts.
No
Oh,
joke.
boy. Well, anyway, so
Anyway.
VR Chat Worlds. The Huggy maps were some of the biggest. What about that one? It's the Asylum map where there's the monster that's coming after you, and you got to go to each room and find the key and unlock the next room, and go to the next room, find the key, and things like that.
That's probably the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I know that one. I know which one you're talking about. Again, all these names escape me. There's one on my YouTube channel that I played back in 2019, and
It's the Haunted
it's like
Asylum.
it's a 4-hour. No, it's like mine was Christmas themed. Like you were like, I was running away from Santa Claus with a fucking chainsaw in his hand.
What?
I'm not kidding. It's on my YouTube channel. The entire VOD is there.
That is great.
But yeah, it's. I guess it's those old. We're talking about the old ones. What about?
Yeah.
Have you tried any new ones lately? Like, what
I
was the
have
last
not.
time you? The last one I tried was someone did a VR rendition of what's the name of that video game that there's 3 dolls. One of them looks like Slappy, another one looks like a clown, and then another one looks like a gothic girl doll.
Emily wants to play.
Emily wants to play, yes, that one. So someone did a VR rendition of that in VR chat, and I think I played that in 2021, 2022. It was like that far back. But that is like the last
Which is
time I can
funny,
remember
Because I think they
playing.
beat the original dev to the punch of their own VR version of it.
I don't know. I think I was more focused at playing Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted at the time. The VR Five Nights at Freddy's, the official one that came out from Steelwool Studios.
Yeah, that's
I think I
somehow
was more
more
focused at the
scarier than
time
all the
playing
other
that one.
games
That
because
one-
you're actually fucking there.
Oh, that one is fucking terrifying because you actually have like 8, 9 foot tall animals in front of you, and you have
Yeah.
to actually reach.
And then there's Afton, who just straight up refuses to fucking die.
You know, I mean, to be fair, how long is the Inuyasha series gone and that fucker hasn't died yet?
Isn't Inuyasha finished now?
I have no clue, to be fair. I mean,
Turtle, what is that? Turtle?
That
why
That is a
you be...
sticker.
Okay, I was gonna say... I thought you said no graffiti.
That's his house.
Well, yeah, but I mean... Yeah, hypocritical if he can do it and we
put it on
can't.
the floor.
I don't have VRC Plus, I can't do stickers.
No, you can't. So the VR chat worlds, there's a fuckload of them. Like, let's.
And it-
I haven't personally made it to any this year yet. Usually, I wait for someone to drag me to it and force me into it while I'm drinking. But that just hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned. Drunk Turtle in a horror map is apparently a very fun time.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Wasn't
I don't
there-
even...
I remember there being this old ass clip of you doing a horror map. You got phased out of the map. You lost your vision when you came back, and somebody had to guide you to a portal out of that world.
What?
That sounds
It's
incredibly
an old-ass
familiar.
clip, but it was a horror maze. You lost your sight. You respawned, but you still didn't have it back.
Wait, was it a
and,
hedge
like,
maze? Was it a hedge maze?
Yes, I think so.
if it was the hedge maze one, I think I know which one you're talking about because I think that was like oh yeah, I remember that one because it was one of several different maps. It wasn't just one single game. It was like several different games inside of one world.
Yeah.
Because you had the hedge, you had the maze, and then you had the gauntlet, which was another one you
Those
had to
are
like
my
go through.
favorite worlds. I love worlds that extend off of each other.
Oh yeah, with like multiple games and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm definitely down for those.
Yeah, because it keeps the map open, while also not eating up your RAM if you don't have enough.
Can I say something? This is incredibly off topic, but we're bringing up old maps and we're talking about this stuff. There's one old map I was thinking of the other day, and I don't have a single clip on my channel from it. I cannot find a single clip from it, but it was the one where it's hot potato with the grenade. I
remember that one.
I don't have a single clip from that. I've looked through my entire archive. I cannot find a single clip. Even though I've played that game so many times on stream, not a single clip exists.
Wow.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, it's a grenade, and you pass it to the next person, and you pass it to the next person until finally it goes off. It just goes off random every single time. And when it goes off, you keep going until it's the last man standing. It's a circle. But I played that game so much. I would spend hours. I'd probably stay up till 5, 6 in the morning playing that.
I know exactly
The only
what
game
you're
world
talking
I've
about.
gone to
I
these
don't-
last couple months has been Uno. So,
Well, shit, why don't you invite me? I want to play Uno.
because you're never on when I am.
Nobody invites me to anything. That's the problem.
Circuitry.
I don't know
You're
what...
just, you're just never on
I
VR
look
chat
for
circuitry. Come
anyone from
on.
the podcast crew. I look for Turtle. He's either passed out or he's DJing. I look for you.
okay.
You're not online when I come on.
Well, I
I
am
don't know what
alive.
the hell
I just...
Sobe's doing, but I assume the same thing as him.
Sobe's usually
I'm-
drinking.
I'm old and I like to take my naps. Okay, you can go fuck yourself, son.
So
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Hey, I hated him as a kid, and as an adult, I love him. My lord.
The naps are the young people.
So there's another horror map that I saw like a year ago, I think. Last Halloween, people were dragging me to it. It's a massive map with a bunch of different like little side quests in it. And it's got like a little DJ hangout room in the middle. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really cool. One of the side quests was following this line of spiders. Just this trail of spiders all over the map to do different tasks for a witch. It was great.
Aragog style.
Can I?
And then at some point you ended
Oh,
up
God.
on a flying broom, just shooting across the sky to go to another place.
Oh lord, I'm
Yeah,
trying
that
to think.
was-
What's that? It's rated the worst Nintendo Switch game ever created. It's like Vroom of the Night Sky. Have you ever heard of that game?
I don't know Nintendo Switch
Kinda?
games.
Let me look it up. Don't know
Vroom of the
Nintendo.
Night Sky was like rated low, the
That is
lowest
true.
ever Nintendo Switch game. And-
Vroom or broom?
Vroom, V, as in Victor. But the reason it was because it actually mirrors Superman 64.
Oh no. That game was awful.
Yeah, the fact that you can compare any game in modern consoles to the worst games to ever come out for the older
I
consoles.
have heard of this.
Oh, okay, so you have seen it.
I didn't know it tanked though, because I heard about it once and then I never heard about it again.
Oh yeah, it was rated one of the worst Nintendo Switch games ever.
That's not saying much given their history.
Well, I mean, the only
How
other
long
one
did
is
it take-
what?
How long did it take the Switch itself to finally get games that people would play like 9 months after its release?
I don't know. To be fair, I still don't own a Switch to this day. And there's only one game I'd want to play for it, and that's F-Zero 99.
2 for me. Mario Party, Smash Brothers.
See, I would play those if I had friends to play with. But either way.
Well,
Well,
anyway.
the day you get a Switch, I
so-
will look into it as well.
All right, well, I
Since
know what
we're
to ask
talking
Santa for
about-
Christmas then.
Since we're talking about spooky games, spooky VR worlds, let's talk about some spooky games for a minute. These aren't necessarily Halloween themed games, but they are spooky, and I have stories from both of the ones I want to talk about. So I want to
Horror
talk
in
about
general.
The Forest and Phasmophobia.
Ah, yes.
The Forest.
Okay.
I was playing that, I was streaming it. There's probably a clip out there somewhere of
You were
me
in VR.
getting attacked. Yeah, I was in VR. And I got attacked by the cannibals, and I swung my hand, and this was with the Vive wands back in the day, swung it above my head, and I just hear pop, and I'm like, oh crap. There was glass all over my room from me hitting the light. The literal light bulb just exploded because of me hitting it.
Yeah.
And
Wait, I remember
ended up
you telling me that
stepping
story.
on it. I ended up stepping on a piece of the glass and bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, this was during stream. Like your character was
Yeah.
sat face down on a wood panel for half an hour while you got cleaned up.
Yeah, it was great.
He turned his room into a
As-
saw trap. Watch your step.
Yeah. As a side note, I've always bitched about not having a fan in my living room, but because of your antics about always managing to hit your fan with your Vive wands, I'm kind of glad I don't.
Yeah, that was a fun time. That's my most
Imagine.
memorable experience in the forest. I mean, I'd love to play the forest again with more than just me. You know, get a few
Yeah,
people
actually,
in,
yeah.
all doing it in VR.
I mean,
I'd love
I'm
to do
more
that game
interested.
again.
I'm more interested in the second game that you mentioned, which is Phasmophobia. That's a game I've played
Yeah.
Phasmo, yeah.
multiple times.
So Phasmophobia, my best story from Phasmophobia is a child ghost. Me, drunk, child ghost kills me, and I sat there crying for like a half hour while
Welcome
dead,
back, gamer.
waiting for everyone else to finish. And when they finally got back into the room, they were all like, "Oh my god, what is wrong?" I wasn't streaming that one, but I was literally crying. From
That was
child ghost
the
getting
jump
me.
scare game of the year when it came out for streamers.
Oh yeah, yeah. That I also want to play more Phasmophobia, but I need people to play with me. So
I would raise my hand. Absolutely.
yeah, we should
I mean,
do a
now that I have
do that
VR, I
on,
guess I can. I just need to actually get it.
Well, the thing is that because of the most recent updates, I'm not fully familiar with all of the newer tools.
Oh, dude.
Like,
I haven't
So I
played
definitely-
in like 3 years now.
same.
I have
been about
0
3 years.
experience.
Let me guess. This is gonna be a short one.
Probably not.
No, we're going a whole hour.
No,
Did
we're
I only
still going.
see four
Yeah,
topics?
don't worry about the items on the topic list. Don't worry about that. That's just the points that I want to talk about for sure.
We can go
and
on
everything
one of those
else.
topics for a good half hour, especially if you get
Yeah.
these two riled up.
Yeah. So yeah, Phasmophobia and The Forest, I would say, are some of the spookiest VR games you can play. And then if you really want to be real about it, I guess, isn't there like a Five Nights at Freddy's VR game?
Help Wanted was
Yeah,
just what we
it
were
was the
talking
one I
about
was-
earlier.
Yeah, help
And
wanted.
Not
I'm
gonna
being
lie.
summoned. Good luck with your podcast. I'm sorry. I got summoned.
It's all right.
Oh,
Take care,
fuck.
gamer.
All good, brother.
You know what? I've only played a FNAF demo. I was never able to finish it. I want to play the VR version of it.
Here's the thing. I
Hmm.
played the desktop versions, and I think I've played 1 through 5, and they're not bad. Like, it's
I tried to
definitely...
play the mobile version of the first one, and it was so unstable. I just refunded it within 20 minutes.
I mean, I have them on mobile. I would say the second one runs better on mobile. If you're
one,
gonna
okay, I'll
play
keep them
any
on.
of them,
Yeah,
play the
that-
second one.
That sounds like me playing Half-Life Alyx that I got for free because I bought an index,
The index.
and the game crashed 5 minutes in, and I just never went back to it.
To be fair, it's just another Half-Life side game.
Well, I've never played any Half-Life games, so I was like, since I got the game for free, I'll try it. And then it crashed, and I was like, yeah, it didn't hook me in the first 5 minutes, and it crashed. I'm not going back to it.
I have beaten all 3 variants of Half-Life 2 so much. Like, there's something about Half-Life. What do you think about it? It is kind of a scary game in and of itself because it is super fucking dystopian.
Now, are there any other spooky
Wait,
VR games that aren't necessarily VR chat?
What were
Okay,
you saying,
so I was gonna ask, when did Half-Life come out?
Half-Life
like, a
1,
year?
I think, came out in 98? Maybe
then the
earlier.
more-
Let me see. Keep talking.
I was gonna say, if you're asking about VR spooky ones, there is, if you know the video game Alien Isolation, it's actually apparently getting a sequel here in the near future. I think they're working on a sequel for that game. But there is a VR port that you can download to play Alien Isolation in VR, if you've ever played the game, ever. I played the game, and you're playing hide and seek with the scariest...
Yeah.
It's probably the
But,
scariest alien.
Yeah, surgery. Half-Life 1 came out in 98. Half-Life 2 came out in 2004.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, because I was thinking, I think 2004 is when Dead Space came out? Or maybe it was later than that, 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
Let me see.
But
Dead Space
for
was
me, if there's
2007.
games, any game that ever made me sleep with the lights on after I played it, it was Dead Space for the first time. I'll tell you, that game,
any of these games.
I was like,
Guess probably
son of a...
2008 is when Dead Space came out.
Yeah, 2008. That makes sense. I was actually, that's the year I turned 21.
You guys are gonna laugh at me, but when I first saw, like the very first Five Nights at Freddy's game, I legitimately had nightmares about Bonnie jumping out at me while I was waking up.
Actually, funny story. In an interview, the developer, Scott Cawthon, that was the first character he developed for the game, was Bonnie.
And he said
and
that
Bonnie,
was the scariest.
that was the
in his
one that
opinion,
gave,
yeah.
yep, that was too.
Well, it's
Every
something
other character
about
did.
that specific design. You know,
I think it's just the color.
Like,
you
half broken in hers. Foxy's a worn down mess. Freddy has a handprint on his, but Bonnie's the one that trips us all up.
Right. I think that Bonnie was the placemaker, and Scott realized, oh shit, I'm making this way too scary. I need to dial it down just a bit on Freddy, Foxy, and Chica.
Often you see Bonnie, honestly, it works out.
Right.
I clicked the wrong button on my phone and it did things. Whoops.
Nice. He ordered an animatronic and sent it to his door right now.
Oh yeah, okay, Amazon on the way.
It's
But no,
okay.
for-
It's okay, boy.
I was trying to do this.
I may have spooked my dog.
I don't know. I think that what constitutes a good horror. I mean, if I'm going back like in the day, like, you know, thinking about like the scary games, you know, like, you know, Resident Evil or Silent Hill, or hell, another one that's a bit more modern than the two of those would be like The Suffering. If you've ever heard of that game,
I think I have.
you're up against monsters with machetes for hands and feet.
It sounds familiar.
It's in a prison, basically. Like the whole game takes place inside of a prison. And speaking of that, I'll bring up. I got to bring up Outlast. I think you want an
Yes.
authentic. You want an authentic experience. Outlast. There you go.
Though that was more disturbing than it was scary, and that's kind of what.
Oh no,
That's
it
kind
was
of what
tense.
helps set apart certain horror games. Because it's not just about the spook factor; it's about the atmosphere.
Well, yeah. To be fair, I can think of a bunch.
So, you know how like war games have the fog of war, where you can't see very far?
Silent
Yeah.
Hill.
Horror games also have a fog. The fog of spook.
Well, to be fair, it also depends because horror games and war games, they run off of different chemistries and formulas for the player. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the indie games you've probably seen your favorite YouTuber play on YouTube over the past 10 years. You know, going as far back as to
Mark Lowe.
you know, the dark what was it called? The Dark Descent. What's the franchise on that?
Amnesia.
Amnesia. Yeah. You think about Amnesia, you think about, I mean, hell, even the first Slenderman game when it first came out. And then its
Yeah.
sequel. Those were
That was
classic
kinda
horror
more of a
games.
meme.
To me, it wasn't a meme. I actually played it and I enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, like at face value, yeah, it's scary, but after you play it a couple times, the scare factor kind of just wears off. You kind of want to get the game
I don't know.
done.
I guess
And
it's,
then,
it's just a bit of a nostalgic feeling. I mean, if you want like something more modern, if you're looking for like, you know, like or Sonic.exe or something like that.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, you just awoke something in my brain, and I hate you for it. Ooh.
Wait, do you
Yes,
remember that
go
game?
on.
All of the like just off the wall, wild, creepy, confusing games that like follow you into the real world. That type of things. Like, oh god. Jesus.
I mean, I was
I'm
gonna say
pretty
Sonic
sure
.exe.
I have watched
I was
some
gonna say the
ordinary
uncle who works for
gamers.
Nintendo.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some ordinary gamer. I saw him go through a lot of those old things back years ago, and oh
yeah,
god.
he covered. So Some Ordinary Mutahar is who you're thinking of. He
Yep.
covered a crap ton of creepypastas over the years. He actually did one recently on the Pokemon. What's the Pokemon Black? You know, the one with the ghost in it, and it's the only Pokemon that you get, or something like that. But someone recreated that whole game. Someone actually went through the trouble of recreating the entire game from scratch, and you can play it if you have an emulator.
I do not know what you're talking about.
So Pokemon Black, someone, according to this creepypasta, I'll give you a summary. Someone goes to a garage sale or some kind of antique shop or whatever. They find a Pokemon cartridge that's black, and it's basically just says Pokemon on it. And they pop it into their game they buy it, they take it home, they play it, and essentially it's a Pokemon that has one attack, and that is called Curse. And you can curse your opponent's Pokemon, they die instantly. If they run out of Pokemon, you have an option again to curse the trainer that you're up against. They die instantly. And it actually the game tracks all of your deaths, all of your kills, up until the very end, until you're the last one.
And then you get cursed.
Yep. That's
Interesting.
there you go. That's
Can you tell I've heard every single cliche by this point?
well, it's actually not.
So-
I enjoy a good creepypasta.
I do too. Like every
I could
now
do a
and
whole
then.
episode on creepypastas myself.
Again, they're not my thing, but I'll look into them every now and then.
Oh, I know some very interesting creepypastas. One of which I love. It is about finding Noah's Ark in the frozen, like I think it's in the Arctic, or not the Arctic. In Antarctica, they found a frozen ship that matched the whole story of Noah's Ark, but it was really creepy and confusing and what the fuck. I highly suggest listening to that creepypasta. It is so, it's long. It's like 30 minutes long if you listen to it, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's one creepypasta series. So I like the multiple stories where, you know, you have like book one, book two, book three. You know, this person puts a lot of time and effort into making like a full-on story, like keeping you engaged as a reader or as a listener if you listen to other YouTubers. But there was one creepypasta I definitely recommend. It's called I Dare You to Ruin My Life. And basically what it is a story between two friends, and basically the one friend says, "Hey, I dare you to ruin my life. Just try." And he agrees to it, and it just goes way the fuck out of proportion. We're talking like severe allegations that lead to prison time.
Oh, I know
course.
I know which one you're talking about. I've also listened to that one.
I would honestly recommend it. Again, it's called I Dare You to Ruin My Life. Listen to that creepypasta. Start from the beginning. It is going to be a fucking ride.
And
I'm
that
pretty
one's
sure
so well written that you almost start believing that it's real.
Exactly. Those are the types of stories I like. Is that it's just like, man, this is plausible. You know, that's the thing about most independent artists and independent writers, is they can actually make this stuff plausible.
Yeah.
Especially
If
with
you're a good
today's
writer, then
technology.
you know how to keep it, surreal.
I mean, there are some creepypastas I've read that I would argue if some of these were adapted into movies, I would go and watch that movie. 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love to see an Uncle Who Works for Nintendo movie, if I'm being honest.
You are such a
think we need
pussy.
to
Can I just
plan-
put that out there?
You know what?
Me?
Circuitry?
Who are you
what?
talking to, me or him?
Uncles for Nintendo. Really?
Next week we're going
Uncle
to
Who Works for Nintendo. Have you never heard of that one?
Only from Aaron
Let's just
Hansen.
pause here let's pause here about
Bitch.
about these because that's going to be next week's episode. Now, okay, we're going to talk about creepypastas next week. So,
Can we make this an extended episode?
Yeah, because I have a feeling that we're not just going to talk about it. We're probably going to do a few readings.
Oh yeah,
we can do
absolutely.
some readings of some shorter ones, but let's continue with today's topic a little more. The spooky VR. So,
Yeah.
I really wanted to look at like it's October. Obviously, there's going to be haunted houses and things in real life. So those usually cost anywhere from like $10 to $25 a person to go through now. So how does the cost of spooky things IRL compare to the cost of it in VR? And how is the fear different between the two? Is it more immersive to be in VR than in person sometimes? Things like that. So the comparing the two. And, I'd probably say for a one-off, go do something in real life because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be a
Go
lot
outside.
cheaper than... Yeah, go outside, go lick the grass. Don't just touch it. You got to lick it.
the grass.
Go
Just
play in
don't
traffic.
lick it where your dog's peed. Yeah, no, don't go play in traffic. That's a bad idea.
In Minecraft.
Let traffic come play with you.
Yeah, let traffic. Yeah, the cars are gonna play with you. Tell them to go fetch.
Play chicken with a semi.
Oh God, no, no.
I'll show you how to
Jesus.
pioneer hitchhike.
I swear. I think
Thank you. I'm here almost every
overall,
Thursday.
the cost of doing like a haunted house in real life is basically negligible. It's most people have to work for an hour to pay to go to that one.
Yeah.
But so
And
that's
even then,
a
not
reasonable
every,
price for it.
not every haunted house or something similar is. I don't know. There's something about it that the atmosphere just kind of tanks, especially when you're going in with other people.
Yeah. Some of them are really, really good, and some of them are really, really bad. But that's the same as in VR. Some VR maps are really, really good, and some are really, really bad.
I think
Most
stealth.
of the scary maps you find in VR, though, are pretty good. They're on the upper third of the good.
You were saying?
I think stealth hit the nail on the head earlier when he said, it kind of kills the mood if you're in there with a group of people. When you go into a haunted house, if I'm going into a scary experience, let's say I want to play Phasmophobia by myself. I want it to be a one-on-one experience. I actually want this to be for me, not just for the people around me.
Oh, so Phasmophobia is an experience, but VR chat's not.
Turtle, if you fucking start, I swear to God.
Continue. I'm sorry.
I will continue, and I'm going to do a service to stealth and not acknowledge that comment.
Thank you.
All right, but going back to what I said, my point is that talking about an IRL experience, comparing it to something that you would indulge in VR. I think that there is
Let the man talk.
I think there is a massive difference between the two because of the fact that one feels more inferior than the other. Because I don't feel like with an IRL experience, you're not getting everything that you pay for. Because everything, some of the people up front, it's just like, oh, I got scared, but they're not actually scared.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can tell there's like true fabrication. If there was true fear in the room, we'd all feel it.
Yeah.
You cannot get that with a VR. I don't remember the word that I said, so.
That's kind of the thing about scary games in general, right? you can set the atmosphere before you go in to decide how deep in you want to go. And there's all kinds of platforms for it. There's VR chat. You got stuff on Steam like Fastbow. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Roblox. Whoever the designers are for the horror games on Roblox, I don't know how, but they nail it. But stuff like that, you can set the atmosphere to decide, like, lights off, higher volume on your headset, lower brightness in the game settings on your monitor, all that stuff.
Right. Whereas IRL, if you're going to go to a haunted house and you want a personalized experience, if you truly want to be scared, you have to pay a lot more money for that, as opposed for general admission.
And even then, that's the experience that they have set up, and it may not always match yours.
No, every experience is going to be different. I think that's kind of, I would hope that that's one thing that actually sets everything apart.
Like, yeah, I get that's the point. But for some people, when they want to be scared, they want to be fucking scared. And
oh, yeah. You want to get your money's worth.
A 5-year-old being taken out because he was scared too much.
Well, first off, I would never take any of my children are under the age of 13, I would not take them in there.
Tell that to the families.
They usually, so most haunted houses actually have like a kids' night where they keep the lights on and tone down the spooky and sometimes close off certain sections. And
kids get in free, yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily free, but they do make it cheaper for the kids and make it a calmer night.
Okay, so in my hometown, Oklahoma City, they actually are doing at the Oklahoma City Zoo. They're doing what's called Spook the Zoo or something like that, and it's where kids as young as the age of 3 and 4 and up to the age of 11 and 12 go through the zoo. They get to trick or treat along the path, and they're doing this the entire month of October. And
that's
all those kids,
cute. What the hell?
They get to wear their costumes. They get to see the animals. They get to get candy. They get to walk around the zoo and trick or treat for free. It is that turtle is a fucking experience.
Damn. Now I need to see if my local zoo has that, because if I could take my daughter to that next year, she'd probably love it.
And I never got to do things like that because I live in such a small area. I would have had to drive like between 3 and 6 hours to go to a zoo or anything like that would even possibly have something like that.
Turtle, if you went into a zoo with any costume, I assume you'd be arrested just because of the way you look. If you tried to identify as a child.
What?
Because I said between the ages of the youngest is 2.
When I was a kid, what the fuck? I was saying when I was a kid, those things did not exist.
Kids can't drive.
Shows what you know.
Circuitry. Do you not understand that we would have to drive? We, not specifically me.
Your family.
Yes, people would have to drive from my area between 2 and 6 hours away to do anything like that.
And
that stuff did not exist when I was a kid.
To be fair, my zoo is an hour away from me.
Yeah, I
think the nearest zoo is in like the next state over at least.
Although I am upset, I really wanted to go to the zoo earlier this year because we actually had We had authentic Chinese pandas there, and one of them just had a baby.
Hey.
I wanted to see a baby panda. Did not get a chance to.
The last time I took my daughter to the zoo, we went to go see the orangutans. One of them spotted her, walked up to the glass, and just like put his lips on the glass and kind of went the whole thing.
That sounds like an orangutan, yeah.
That does sound like an orangutan.
No, seriously, look up the story of Ken.
She wasn't like excited or upset or anything. She was just perplexed.
If you get a chance, look up the story of Ken Allen. Ken Allen is the most infamous orangutan because he escaped the zoo like around 8 or 9 times. he was able to get out of his enclosure, even though they
No walls
reinforced
can
it
hold
multiple
me.
times. Oh no, he kept escaping. He kept finding ways out. He even had other orangutans help him.
This is how Planet of the Apes starts.
Right? Tell me about it. Well, all he did was walk around the zoo and hold hands with the people. Like, he just wanted to chill.
He wants to see what it's like being a human outside.
I'll be honest, I'd walk if I had the opportunity to walk around the zoo with an orangutan and he's just chill and cool and relaxed and not screaming his head off bloody murder, I would do it. I would hold
don't know
hands
how
with an
this
like a
orangutan.
backpack, dude.
How did we go from spooky games to walking around a zoo with an orangutan?
Fuck it, shit
What the-
show. Never
Fucking
forget.
shit show. Also, ADHD, you are welcome. Leave it in the comments if you're ADHD.
I want to go back to comparing Spooky VR to Spooky IRL. We looked at the cost. Now, do you personally feel that the fear aspect is the same or better in one or the other?
It
How do
really
they compare?
depends.
I'd
There
say
are
that's
so
where
many
personal
variables.
preference comes into play. But
Yeah.
if we're talking
Yeah, I was
generally,
looking at like in
just-
general, it depends. If you can't do certain recreational activities, and that's
Hold on,
all
give
I'm
me a
going to
sec, I'll
say
be
with
right back.
that. If you can do those while you're in VR, then oh boy, you're going to have a blast. If you
If you
can
don't
do
have a
those
fucking
while
heart
you're in
attack
person,
first.
you're going to freak the fuck out.
Right,
But
if we do a horror map while inebriated, we're gonna have problems, Turtle.
yeah, oh man, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do that
No.
to you.
No. I will
It's
leave.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But so me personally, I think VR can actually do more in some ways than
Yeah.
in person, because in VR it can look more real, in a sense, than
Exactly.
someone wearing a
Like-
costume.
Like in general, I'd say overall VR horror is better than like going to a haunted house.
Yeah, you can also do it year-round instead of just at certain times.
Yeah. Hell, you don't even need VR. If you've got a decent like monitor setup and good headphones,
And
You
you
don't have
turn
to go
all
that
your
far.
lights off.
yeah, turn all your lights off, boot up if you still have a copy of it, PT. Go to town.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking horror
So,
games. PT
like
was
how-
definitely up there.
So I mean, VR spooky stuff can involve so much more to the experience than in person can. In
Yeah.
almost every aspect.
Because depending
so I
on
mean,
what you're doing, you can participate.
yeah, you're actually part of it more than just walking through and taking 5 seconds in each room.
Yeah.
IRL, because
Like-
IRL
like-
they try to push you and keep you moving and keep you going because they don't want you to slow down because they want to get 1,000 people through every hour
Exactly.
or some
And
because they make more money the more people go through. And most of the
Yeah.
haunted houses I know of, at least, are mostly geared towards like a nonprofit organization running it.
right.
So
And
they want to make as much as they can for that nonprofit and be able to give their spookers a little something as well. So
yeah. And like when it comes to VR though, like stuff like Five Nights VR, you're constantly doing something to make sure you don't get killed by a robot. You are
Yeah,
being
and
put
there's
under
actually-
pressure and that ramps up the atmosphere.
and there's actually more of a threat and more of a threat, I guess, because in person you know they can't touch you, they can't hurt you.
Exactly.
In VR, physically they can't touch you and hurt you, but if someone stabs me in the chest, I'm gonna freak out no matter what.
God help you if you're wearing a haptic suit.
Oh yeah, that would be. Oh, I want to get one of those. I'm gonna get one soon.
I eventually do too. But really what I want to do, because I heard they're coming up with the Index 2, keep an eye out for price drops for the Index 1.
Well, you
So I
can
want
find
thingies, damn it.
you can find used indexes and index controllers, but I highly suggest not buying used index controllers.
I wasn't going
That's
to.
just hands down. They wear out so fast that you need the warranty,
Yeah. So I'd much rather
especially
buy
if you're
one
spending a
fresh,
lot
and
of
that's why
time
I'm-
in VR.
Yeah, and that's why I'm keeping an eye out, because I don't want top of the line, but I do want thingies.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I can't really think of any other way to compare VR versus IRL for spooky stuff. There's
What were the last few horror games you played?
last time I ever played a horror game, I think it was The Forest, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, the real horror was when you slice your fucking foot open.
Yeah, that was painful.
How to make the fear genuine. Step on glass in real life.
Yeah, that was great. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, where am I at?
We're reaching closing arguments. Anything else you want to declare?
Yeah.
You had something that you were gonna say, and I cut you off. I apologize.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you weren't
we were
here for
just
this
talking
because I
about
was
the,
mentioning,
spooky.
like, Five Nights VR is a good example of setting up the atmosphere and keeping you busy with it. Like,
Oh,
almost
now I
yeah,
remember,
panicking
I remember.
depending on who you are.
Okay. So here's what I would say in that regard. Okay, if we're still talking about how an experience IRL compares to
Differ from
something
the one in
virtual.
VR.
Yeah. So it definitely comes down to personal preference. If you put me in front of snakes, I'm not gonna budge because I had a snake around my neck last year. So
Why'd it have to be snakes?
yeah. But if you put me onto a bungee cord and hang me 300 feet above the ground, I'm gonna take that bungee cord and strangle you
Noted.
because I am not doing that. So again, it comes down to personal preference. Now, in terms
Turtle,
of virtual reality,
Set up a plank that leaps off to your world and put a bungee cord there.
That'd be fun.
now in terms of virtual reality, if we're talking about, talking about experiences or whatever you want to call it, I'll be nice. It just varies from person to person. I think it just comes down to personal preference. Like I just said, like I'm not scared of snakes, but I am scared of heights. Some people are scared of snakes, but not scared of heights.
Oh my goodness, my little baby.
I didn't even know you weren't here. I didn't even know you weren't here.
Yeah, I told her when I was going up to
Yeah, my whole thing, I was basically
Oh,
saying,
right.
VR is
Yeah.
most of the time better, but it's a little more expensive to get into if you were to just do it for the spookiness. But there's so much more you can do in VR. So like
It's
right now, the
For yourself, Knight.
latest Quest headset being like what $300-400. It's worth
you-
it.
So you think
Yeah.
the investment overall is worth it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do. Even if it's just for the spooky stuff, because you can do the spooky stuff and you will end up finding other things with VR that you enjoy doing. It's basically
Yeah.
a guarantee. If you like to socialize, VR's amazing for that. If you want to watch a three-headed dragon chase a girl in a bar, well, I've seen that happen too.
I'm glad you
Yeah,
brought
you
that
want a
up.
real horror show? Go to a
Can I-
public black cat.
I think this is something that we talked about back in St. Patty's Day or 4th of July. It was one of those holidays, but I want to talk about the the decorations of the public worlds, such as, the black cat or the great pug. I think those have gotten worse as the years went on.
I don't know. As long
Personally,
as
I
Great
don't
Pug
think
still
they've
has
gotten
the
worse, they're just-
distorted door ring when you walk
feels
in
like
for
there's
Halloween, I'm
it feels
happy.
like there's less effort being put in. Does that make sense?
Why would you need to? The pug is dying and Black Cat just doesn't care.
I don't know. I guess it's just about the festivities and like just feeling in the holiday spirit. Like that's what I always got from it. I mean, we're about to start decorating my lawn for Halloween, so
Yeah.
we're wanting to get into the Halloween spirit.
Spooky.
The same goes for, any public world. I think that it should be,
It definitely varies depending on who you are. And if you decide that you're going to do the bare minimum for your public world,
that's why
Can't
I
help
say
it.
I think it's gotten worse as the years have gone on.
No, I don't
Well,
think it's
especially
gotten
because-
worse. It's just different now.
less people care about it, so less effort is put in,
There's so I'm actually friends with someone that has won the what's it called? The VR chat Halloween map contest before. He made I can't remember what it was. Let me look him up real quick.
Mhm.
It's elite.
I'm not saying
cool guy.
that it's bad. I'm saying
No.
that it was better back in the day. Like in 2018, 2019, it felt like the decorations were better around the holidays, if you include Halloween, Christmas, New Year's.
circuitry. The people were better back in the day. Not so much now, because
Oh, it was Candy Investors. That was the one I was thinking of. He made a cool mini game. It was an interesting one, but he won the contests.
There you go.
But I think the decorations in the worlds, they're just different now, and the people that make those big popular worlds are more busy now, so they can't spend 3 weeks of their college break making the world or just changing the world to be spooky like they used to be
Well,
able to.
especially
so I
that
think it's
now
a
that
time issue.
one of the main reasons died off. One of the main reasons that VR got so popular in the first place died off 2 years ago, or at least has become more controlled.
Yeah.
Like, people are headed out more. People are going back to work. There's less time to work on those worlds.
There's just a lot more kids in VR now, sadly.
That too.
Anyway,
Why waste your time when you're just going to be
Man,
running
wait a
around
minute.
the place yelling the N-word?
so any last comments about those spooky games and spooky maps? I mean,
That's
I
all
really
I got.
think if you look back at the history of VR chat, the Huggy Dungeon was by far the peak of spooky VR maps.
Yeah,
And we
Huggy
just hang out in
Dungeon
the back
definitely.
rooms randomly.
I had a chance to meet the creator of the Huggy Dungeons, and I gave them kudos. They were mute at the time. They didn't speak. So, but I'll tell you, it's definitely it's something definitely worth checking out. Like, I really wish there would be a remaster version, even if someone could actually put the effort into making those old maps come back. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, but past is probably going to stay buried.
I know it sucks. I don't have any clips.
It's all right. Like 2026, we'll get a very popular world that's a horror that just involves skimming toilet or something stupid like that. Mark my fucking words.
Honestly, I thought.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at their world, seeing if they made any new ones.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought I had an idea for a really cool horror map that I thought would be really fun. It'd be like a survival game for like 10, 12 people at most, maybe.
If you say skimming
and-
toilet, I will find a way to pick up this
No,
table
it's not
and smash
Skibbity
you down
Toilet.
with it.
It's based on it. No, it's based on it's based on a movie that was made years ago, and I think we spoke about this on the podcast already. About worlds that you could potentially make. If I could make my own world, I would make it based on the movie called The Cube.
Oh,
I do
we
remember
talked about
people
that.
talking about the cube.
Okay, so for reference, just for the viewers watching, The Cube is a movie where there's like 4 or 5 people wake up into a room, and that room is inside of a giant cube of rooms that all connect to each other, and there's like 128,000 possibilities of escape. But in order to find the way out, you need to be able to understand ASCII on the side of the actual hatches. Because some rooms can be traps. They can actually kill you.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's time for us to wrap up and call it a day. So next week we'll be talking
surprisingly
about.
managed to do this well with just the three of us.
Yeah. So next week we'll be talking about the
Creepypastas.
creepypastas. Yeah, put that down in the notes.
I got you.
The spooky
Doing it right now in the
lasagnas.
Discord.
Spooky lasagnas.
The horrifying
boy.
pastrami's.
So I'll try to remember to post a couple of the creepypastas that I like in the channel, so people can watch them, so we can talk about them.
Yeah.
And you guys feel free to do the same. But as for today, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So this has been episode 44. Yeah, 44 of the Beyond Pixels podcast. We're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. We cover topics ranging from VR to just random things. I mean, we try to stick mostly to VR and online topics, but we do sometimes branch out and touch on other
Sometimes
things.
we go beyond pixels.
Yeah. And usually we talk about how it relates to the real world. Like we did today. Excuse me. Like we did today. So, we're going to go ahead and do the thing that we always do at the end of every episode, but we're switching it up a little bit. We're using my newfangled toy, and we're going to go ahead and start with circuitry.
That's fucking why. Okay.
Hi. Okay. You can find me at, I do stream on kick.com/circuitry. You can find me over there. And I also have a YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I also stream, I'm going to be streaming on Rumble again for my own podcast. So definitely tune in, check that out. If you see me on TikTok, that is not me. Report that channel. I will never touch TikTok.
Cancel the fake circuitry.
Okay. And stealth.
All right. Y'all can find me at twitch.tv/StealthTheFox. My schedule has been an absolute clusterfuck over the last couple months. But I will occasionally, whenever the server I'm in still does it, Halo community nights on the weekends. I'll see y'all then.
And
Oh, also, if I
me,
can shoot, I'll never
obviously.
forget.
Oh. God damn it, stealth. Obviously. Podcast. Good shit. I'm liking the new camera thing. I'm really liking being able to do this. And then we'll just put your
Such a
back.
fucking diva.
How long have we known Turtle?
6 years, actually.
Almost 7.
This is just him. This is
Almost
just him.
7. Actually, one quick thing before we go. In the comments section down below on YouTube, let us know your favorite horror experience. It can be in video games, IRL, it can be VR. What is your favorite
Be your
horror
older
experience?
brother
Let us
pulled
know.
a shitty prank on you.
Same. You want to know what my older brother did to me? He tricked me into drinking vodka.
What?
The cup he had it in was pitch black in the bottom. And so you can't tell what liquid is in it. He said, "You want to drink a water?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I just took a drink without thinking, and then
God
thinking
rest
that
your
my
liver.
brother would never betray me.
How old were you at the time?
4.
Ouch.
Okay. Bye.